Okay, I think I can. I'm almost nothing. So how long did you say? 9:10. If we each do 10 minutes, 5 minute debrief, that'll be 30, 55. So yeah, basically 10 minutes each. 10. You're recording. Yeah. Okay, hi, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay, so what brings you in for today?
I'm just feeling really depressed about everything that's going on with me, particularly my weight. Since I started graduate school, I've had a really hard time staying thin and keeping my weight to the range that I'm happy about, and it's just weighing down on me. I don't feel very confident, so I just felt like I should come in.
Okay, so just since you started grad school, you feel like you had these issues with your weight. You feel like you've been gaining more. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay. You said you were really down about it. Can you explain why? Can you touch on that a little bit more?
Yeah, it's just like when I look in the mirror and I don't feel like I'm physically fit or I feel like I'm fat, it just makes me sad and it makes me feel like I'm not worthy.
Well, what would you describe as physically fit?
For me, I just like to be where I'm like big on weight, on numbers. So for me, I kind of have a target number, and if I'm not at that number, then I feel like I'm not fit. It doesn't matter what I look like. I just feel like I have that number that I want to reach.
Okay, so it sounds like you found you in a sense almost it seems like you found like a threshold where you feel like maybe if you push it, then that's when you start feeling less confident. That's when you have these insecurities rise up. Is that what's going on?
That's correct. And just like the way my clothes fit too, they're getting tighter. Okay. It makes me uncomfortable, and I'm just like down on myself.
Now, let's go back to this threshold that we were talking about. You said that you based it off of that. What are you basing your threshold off? Where did that come from? What is this standard that you constructed? How did it come about?
That's a really good question. I don't know where it came from. I think just other girls, seeing what they weigh or hearing about what they weigh and looking at them and their body types, and I just kind of adopted a number. I didn't really think about where it came from. Just other girls who were my age and not even really my height, actually, when I think about it. Just girls who I think are thin and how much they weigh, and that's kind of like this little number that I've picked for myself.
Wow, so it almost sounds like what you constructed amongst on your own, something that was socially constructed amongst yourself. You said that you really perceived this off of just based off appearance of other women, and you mentioned that they weren't even your height. So it's almost like this unrealistic perception that you've already developed or constructed.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel about that? How do so what I'm getting is that there's this unrealistic perception of your idealized weight, but yet it's based off of something that's not measurable to you. So is that something that you thought about maybe, or has it come across your mind?
I really hadn't thought about it until you asked me where I got the number from. Okay. So that made me think, okay, where did I get this arbitrary number from? And even as you said, as I think about that's women who may not even be as tall as I am or same body type. So it's interesting just to think that maybe I just picked this up and there's not much logic to it.
Okay, yeah. So you were right there. You brought up a lot of good points. There's not much logic to it, and I'm just reaffirming what you're saying. Is there any way where you can revert that? Is there anything because I feel we should really take into consideration is that everyone's body is different. Everybody's body metabolizes things at a different rate. So has that come across your mind when you're developing this threshold or spectrum? It's okay to have an ideal, what you would feel comfortable as an ideal weight, but I think it's important to be realistic about it. And it's important to, if you have this realistic nature in assessing the issues with your weight, I feel like it'll be resolved a lot sooner. Now, I'm not saying that you should go out and just either find something where you can identify most and really try your best to stick with it. See what I'm trying to say? So I just really feel that maybe there should be a new approach to this whole situation. So have you thought about other possible ways where you might feel more inclined or more of a comfortable measure in terms of looking at your weight?
Well, I've heard people using like body indexes and
Okay,
things
body
like
indexes.
that, which is maybe something I can look into to determine might be more realistic for
Mm-hmm.
me. Um, and also just feeling good. I think a big part of it is that not so much the number, but just maybe doing things that make me feel better, make me feel stronger, as opposed to just focusing on that number. That's maybe something I could look into.
And then does feeling good and feeling strong reflect on your physical appearance or how you feel on the inside?
Both.
Both?
Both,
Okay.
yeah. Like for a period of time, I did like weightlifting,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you'll actually gain weight
Mm-hmm.
weightlifting, but I felt very strong and I felt pretty good about myself during that time.
That's good. Um, can you talk a little bit more about that? You just mentioned the weightlifting and you actually gained weight and you said you felt good about that. So maybe elaborate a little bit more on it, touch more on it.
Yeah, at that time I just tried it randomly actually, and I just remember feeling really powerful. I felt
Mm-hmm.
strong. I felt like I was actually doing something positive, and even like with just I guess being a woman and at times maybe not feeling I don't know like I don't know if I was attacked or something happened to me that I would be able to defend myself. It made me feel stronger. Like I could really defend myself,
Okay.
and so it was it did something for me internally as well, not just outside physical. It made me feel like I had more control over my environment,
Yeah.
and if something happened, that I would be able to protect myself.
It sounds like it almost provided a sense of security for you.
It did
Okay.
definitely.
Now, what has changed then versus now? How you have this new, it almost seems like you have this new perception or construction of weight and how you visualize it and how you internalize it and reflecting it yourself. So, where was the shift?
Um, I think it's a great question. I think my circumstance was just different at that time. I wasn't working. I had a lot of free time to work out and focus on that. And now that I'm so busy, I don't think about working out as much as I think about eating and trying to like eat less to lose weight as opposed to trying to do active things to be stronger. If that makes any sense. Like I almost feel like I don't have the time to do the weightlifting, so that's kind of out of my mind. I'm just focused on losing weight and keeping my weight low by
Mm-hmm.
reducing calories and stuff like that. So.
Okay, so I still see like for me, there's just somewhat of a sense of disconnect because right now you were just explaining how, again, you're going through this grad school process where you feel like you're eating more, you're gaining weight, and you feel like you haven't had much control of that portion. But what I really wanted to touch upon is earlier you mentioned how comfortable you were when you were actually gaining weight, but you were doing strength training. So maybe let's say if you incorporated that now and you were to gain weight again, but you were doing it for strength training. Now is that something that would bother you, considering now how you feel that maybe um, you developed what I'm understanding is you developed this whole notion of how you constructed your weight versus how before it seemed like you were okay with gaining weight. You were doing your strength training, you felt safer, you felt more um, not more at risk when you're walking in certain areas. So I'm really starting to see two different patterns that's going on right now. So how would you feel, for an example, just to get the thinking going, let's say now you incorporate the strength training, even when you're in grad school, you're not so worried about the calories you're taking in, the more, giving you back that sense of pride, that sense of empowerment that you had before when you were working out in that manner. How does that work? How does that seem to you right now? How would that work out?
If I were doing that right now,
Mm-hmm.
I think it might actually benefit me. Like I said, if I had the time to do it, then I think it's something that it probably wouldn't bother me so much to gain the weight to know that I'm getting stronger.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not exactly sure where the disconnect happened, but at some point I kind of got this fear of gaining weight or getting fat. So I think that might be a good idea for me to explore going back to that.
And yeah, that's another good thing. Now I wanted to really touch on don't take it as a sense of encouragement or advice and me trying to allow you to approach the matter, but just a matter of a new way of thinking it. Because before it seems like you're really beating yourself down on an unrealistic perception or scale of what you would construct your weight, and it seems like now you always now what I'm getting is what what I'm getting now is that it seems that you, as long as you're doing something productive and you're actually getting some workout in, that you're gonna feel confident no matter what. So is that something that you feel like you need to do in order to feel confident on yourself and reassure yourself?
Yeah,
Definitely. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit more about your grad school. Skin. 10 minutes. Yeah.
That was fast, huh?
Yeah.
Should we stop it?